Hello you guys, welcome back to another video on this channel. If you guys read the title, today we have none other than another story time right here on this channel. Y'all, this is another one unlocked deep in the back rooms of my brain that happened a while ago, but it just popped into my head and I was like, what a fun story to tell about such a delusional man. I hate how men always try to swear girls be so delusional. She's so delusional, bro. I don't want her. I be telling her like I do this. How about a lot of girls are delusional because we believe what you say? So many girls are delusional because we listen to your context clues and what you say you're gonna do. And then when you don't follow through, we're a little bit confused because nigga, why'd you even tell us that? And then all of a sudden we're delusional. But I'm here to tell a story about someone who's actually delusional. So let's get into it, y'all. This was the man that I met at 19. I know. I know. A scary thought. I've literally been thinking about maybe next episode after this that I want to make a podcast episode about the boy at 19 theory. Drop a comment in the comments down below if you would like to hear more about it. I've already told stories about this man, but here goes another one. So in this story time about this delusional man, I will not be holding back one bit because this is the man that I met at 19, the man that actually gives me a lot of reason for my content. Not funny. It's not funny, y'all. Sometimes I don't know how to deal with my trauma. This is the man I met at 19 when I was in my first ever abusive relationship, a relationship that shaped me, that I went single almost 2 years. I went to therapy for being emotionally and sexually abused. And yeah, it's a lot of lore. This one's not about that much lore, but it just is about, it does mention this character. Okay, let's get into it for real. So once upon a time, before stuff got like I just described how that relationship was, that boy you meet at 19, you think he's it, baby. You think he's it. You think, oh my God, no other boys ever treated me like this. Like it's just going so good. We're so different. I've mentioned in story times before, this was my second serious relationship. Second time I ever fell in love after my first heartbreak. I was really attracted to this man because I felt like we were such opposites attract. He was so quiet and socially awkward and nerdy, and I was so yapper. It's like yapper girlfriend listening boyfriend. I was like, I never met someone so strange and weird, and I'm intrigued. Whatever. We got together. It was going well for a couple months. If you guys don't know, I live in California, and this man was honest with me from the jump. He also lived in California, lived in my county, but he told me that he was going to go to school out of state, not too far. He was going to go to ASU, Arizona State University. As a victim of this relationship, literally hearing that school still gives me chills, but we moved and I was fine with it. We fell in love in summer. I fell in love. I felt like that was my man. I felt like all that. Um, and yeah, it was literally fine. I made plans to go see him. He wasn't going anywhere. We were both really in it. We were both very into each other. So he was a Virgo. I know, again, another strike, y'all. Every single serious relationship I've had has been with a Virgo man. I need help and I need you guys to stay away from me. He was a Virgo, but this is context for the story. So here goes my man is going to move to a different state, and we were locked in, and he was a Virgo. So literally about a week into him moving, it was going to be his birthday. So of course we had already made plans, like of course I'm going to visit you at least once in the semester, before you come back and all that, cuz I just worked. I didn't go to school. So all I would have to do was just like request off work. I wouldn't have to worry about homework and stuff like that. So boom, we made plans. I bought the ticket. I was like, I'm going to come stay for 4 days on your birthday so we can spend your first birthday together and all this. Cool. Airplane tickets bought. It's going great. So before the trip out there, Obviously I'm like, this is my man, like first birthday with him, I want to make it special. I'm the type of person where, like, when it comes to birthdays, I normally buy like a little set of things. Like in Christmas, I like to like wrap stuff individually, but in birthdays, you get a bag and you think of like a couple different gifts you could like put in the bag. You feel me? So I'm thinking of what I want to get this boy. If I'm being honest, guys, I don't remember much of what I got him besides like the item that is the key to this story. So if you guys don't already know, I am not religious, but I'm spiritual. And honestly, little Scorpio pendant. Honestly, at this point in my journey, I'm not very like convinced about anything. This is context for the story. I was birthday shopping for him. I went to the crystal shop. I still love a crystal shop run. They got good books in there, good vibes. I think crystals are really pretty, but I'm just not one of those people who's convinced that like this crystal actually does something for me. No shade to the people who believe that and it helps them. I personally I personally don't, but I like the vibes. I like reading about them, like, oh, it's supposed to do this or it's supposed to help with this. I think it's like a cool interest. So I'm in the crystal shop, and mind you, this man, things were going good at first, but very quickly I started to see this man who's so quiet and innocent and socially awkward. They're not always just like that. Some of them got some demons inside of them. And that guy who would go on to be my abuser definitely did. I forgot the name I gave this man in other story times. We're gonna call him Devin. We're gonna call him Devin. Devin was so quiet and, oh my god, so all about me, and we were so in love at first, but it slowly started to come out that there was more than just his quiet, cool, calm personality. He was someone who got in a relationship with me and was still so highly affected by the other relationships he's been in. Like, he was the I got cheated on like every relationship type person, so I expect that out of you too. And so I'm gonna take all the trauma that I have for all the girls who actually did something to you and shove it down to you, because who cares? You might do the same thing. He was insane in that type of way. And should I have been dating him? No. But the boy you meet at 19, he was, mind you, I didn't know like all this at the beginning, but he was just very, very insecure with like how he would stalk me, accusing of lying, accusing me of cheating, accusing me like it, like when he left for school is when it got really bad and when he really started abusing me. But before, at this time, before he had left to school, it was more so like I seen it come out a little here and there, but like it didn't seem that bad. So I knew at this point I had a very like self-conscious partner. He was also going through some things family-wise, going through like cutting off a parent, um just stuff like that. So of course I wanted to be there for my man at the time. And so again, I'm looking back to the crystal shop. I'm looking in this crystal shop and I'm like, I see these rings on the counter. And normally I just see necklaces, I see bracelets, I see stuff like that. Cause I didn't really want to give him like crystal. Like, you know how men are, like, well, depending on the man. I saw these rings and I thought they were really, really cute. It was just like literally like a band, but it was like different types of crystals. And I didn't want to be that basic girl and give him like a rose quartz too. I was like, no, like I feel like I saw these rings and I was like, oh my God, how much are these? She told me. I was like, what is this crystal? To be honest, you guys, for the life of me, I can't remember. I cannot remember what crystal it was. It was like reddish, orangish. The the crystals were cute. Like I said, I just thought they were cute. But at the crystal shop, they know all the tea. So she's like, it's this type of crystal. It represents this, whatever it may be. Protection, helps with self confidence, helps with focus, blah, blah, blah. Something along those lines where I'm like, okay, my man is having a little trouble. He's about to move away from home the first time. It's gonna suck being away from me. Like, he's on his own. This Devin, he was very much a baby boy, which is crazy because he was also the oldest. He was like the oldest grandchild, firstborn, but y'all know how somehow they still just find a reason to baby the men. Like when I met him at 19 years old, he didn't have a license, had no aspiration to have a license. He didn't have a job. All he did was online school all day. Like he was very much like, baby, oh, he doesn't have to do any of that. Like his very coddling family. No wonder he's abusive. But moving on, like I said, I'm getting the vibes. This is a baby boy. He's going through stuff right now. He's moving away. I was like, let me get a little thing. And I was like, I should get two so we could like match, like cute little crystal rings. I could tell them what they mean. And like, we could go out and like match or coordinate with them with fits, buying cute matching couple stuff. Cause why not? So I ended up buying that. I put together my little bag of whatever else I bought. And then before I knew it, he was in Arizona and it was time for my flight. Which, like I said, although I left this relationship with a lot of trauma um, and stuff, the boy meeting 19, going through abuse for the first time, I did learn a very handy skill. Like I said, catching that flight, I'm someone who, growing up, I went on a plane maybe twice. I did not know how to fly by myself. And mind you, for me, California to Arizona is only an hour flight, so it's chill. But I was so nervous. I was like, I don't want to check bags. Like, I don't want to, like, I don't know. I'm scared. I don't know how to do all this. I'm like, keep checking my ticket to make sure it doesn't disappear. Like, girl, do you think it's going to get up and walk away? I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm an anxious traveler. That's still, but I learned how to solo travel. It was my first flight. My dad's dropping me off. My dad is so sweet. I literally remember looking back like after I went through the gate and he like watched me walk all the way to the gate and I texted him like, I'm here. And it was on my way. It was not bad. It was a short flight. I learned my skill. And yeah, that was it. I don't know if I mentioned this, but the day I flew in was his birthday. So I was flying in like on the day of his birthday. I want to say my flight was at maybe like 1. So I landed in Arizona at maybe like 2. Because, like I said, it was only an hour or a little over an hour. I get there, we're texting, we're calling, we see him. That's the first and only experience with a man I've ever had of like picking me up at the airport, meeting at the airport. It was cute for the time being. And then it was cool because, like I said, my man just moved somewhere. He's in an apartment with roommates, like freedom. Because when he lived in California, he lived with his grandparents. We used to always be there, around people, waiting for certain times to do certain things. Like it's exciting. Like first time being with your man and being with freedom. We're teenagers, 19. So we get to the apartment. I meet his roommates. We go in. Happy birthday, opens the presents. I noticed he really, really liked the crystal rings. Mind you, back then I was still not religious and he was Christian, but he wasn't like super into it. He didn't go to church. So he wasn't one of those people that I knew would be like repulsed by crystals. He seemed to really like it and think it was really thoughtful, like matching rings. Oh my God, no one's ever bought like matching things. I showed him the card of like what the crystal meant because I knew I wasn't going to remember it. Like he seemed really, really happy with his presence. And I had also, his family wasn't there. He hadn't seen his family since I moved. I also stopped by his family's house and brought presents from like his family stuff. So he's opening all the presents. He seems seemingly happy. It was a good trip. I was there for 4 days, I think. We wore our rings. We took pictures. Um, and yeah, so that was it with the first trip with Devin the Devil. I told y'all I'm not letting up. He's the reason I got a podcast. Anyway, so at this point in the story, you might be thinking, okay, like how is he delusional? It seems like he had some issues. You said they weren't showing by then. Remember how I said the more he moved, the more his insecurities and his control and the abuse to me started when I would go to visits or when he would come back for breaks and all that. So I'm going to say maybe it couldn't be have been more than a month, maybe like a month or two after I had given him his presents. I went back home, all that. We're still locked in, we're still good. I remember one time this conversation comes up, and I got to give a little context before I give you this conversation, the peak of the story. So, like the saying goes, hurt people hurt people. This man was very insecure on his own, but also from past relationships, from getting treated bad, from getting cheated on, from never feeling like enough, from family trauma, from all that. Very hurt person, like I said, that imprinted their hurt onto me. Someone who was actually there and actually honest and actually there for them. That's what a lot of people do. Unfortunately, that turned him into the person he was. Even though, like I said, his insecurities and his anxious personality and anxious attachment came out more and more, especially after he moved, I told you guys I would like see signs. Like it seemed like so desperately he just wanted to like be loved and have someone who's actually only there for him and actually like y'all. I have too many videos explaining my experience with this guy. Y'all, I literally would call this man attractive. He would say I'm lying, and I don't think like that. And there's no way I think that about him. Full on me complimenting him, giving him reassurance words of affirmations, him screaming at me and saying I'm lying, I'm not true. Like this man was insane. It grew more and more the more we were apart, the more I feel like he became anxiously attached. And it was scary because, like I said, it later turned into abuse. He just really, really wanted that one person locked in, whatever. I remember one time this conversation came up and it was about promise rings. Let me tell you something. I know it was like every teenager's dream, especially a lot of girls, to have a promise ring. Like, oh my God, I want a promise ring. Like, I want a promise ring like a year in. Like, I would have friends in college who would. I never saw the point. I'm like, it's not like an engagement ring. I was like, you're my boyfriend. You're loyal to me. You're only with me. But we're not engaged. Like, I get a ring when we get engaged. That's just always how I've thought about it. Yeah, it's a cute gesture, but I'm an acts of service girly. You giving me something doesn't promise me anything. People change. And one time we were talking about this, and I've never heard a man so invested in promise rings. He was a man who felt like that. And it's like, okay, like I'm not knocking him for it. He said like, yeah, he like I said, very anxious person, very hurt person. He was like, yeah, I would love that cuz then that would mean we would be locked in and stuff. Again, that doesn't mean anything cuz people change. Why one time, guys, I remember we were on FaceTime on the phone. I think it was right before I was going to have another visit to him. And I obviously the rings meant a lot to me too, because like I said, it was just a cute idea. Like, oh my God, matching rings, they're crystals, they have good energy. I remember he said for a second he lost it and he was really upset, thinking he lost it. I don't know if I left it in class, blah blah. It was really short and I was just like, what? Like you have to find it. Like I wasn't mad, but it was more so like you gotta find it, you gotta find it. He ended up finding it. His room was just messy, dusty, dirty. Like I said, Devin was the baby boy, the angel in the family that didn't have to do anything, didn't even want to drive because his grandparents and everybody, like, so that room was a mess. Living on his own was a mess. He didn't know what to do. His room was so dirty. He was like, oh no, I eventually just found it. Like, it was in the mess. I got it. I'm like, okay, period. Yeah. Y'all. Why does this man go? Yeah, like I knew I had to find it. I knew it wasn't far. Like, of course, there's no way I could like lose my promise ring.
This be nice. I'm finding it.
I'm thinking the same thing as my facial expression. I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, like I couldn't lose my promise ring." I said, "What do you mean? Like our matching rings, the ones I bought for your birthday?" He was like, "Yeah, like I wouldn't want to lose." Like I said, y'all, when he opened that gift, he seemed really, really happy and excited. I was too, because it was a cute gesture. I'm like, that's not a promise ring. Like it's just our matching crystal rings. What are you talking about? Y'all, he was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "What? When did I never said it was a promise ring? I said it was our matching rings." He's like, "But you gave me rings. Like, why else would you give me a ring?" I'm about to have a heart attack. A man talking about I gave him a ring? What? I'm like, bro, you already know how I feel about promise rings. I feel like there's no point. I'm like, also, when do girls ever give a guy a promise? I was like, I literally gave you the card, told you what the crystal was, whatever. It was protection, boosting confidence, whatever. And I said it was our matching rings. Like, it was our rings. When did I ever say the word promise? I'm like, because y'all, at the time, like I said, it was when this man started to get abusive. Yes, well, first of all, we're on the phone call. Yes, I was like kind of scared of him, but also I'm real shit. Like, even in an abusive relationship, I never shut my mouth. I was never, because I'm like, I'm not gonna play along and be like, oh yeah, it is. Like, I'm not gonna have you thinking I did something I'm not. I'm really not that girl. And I'm like, I never said they were promise rings. They're just matching rings. Like, why did you think, like, I'm so confused. Like, again, I'm not trying to hurt someone I love, but I'm just like, why do you think that? Y'all, he was like, because he got so mad and so butthurt. He talking about fine. Well, I guess it wasn't. I'm so serious, guys. I wish the story was I wish so much of that relationship was made up. He was really mad at me, talking about fine, like fine. I just thought, I thought this whole time, like, I thought it was a promise ring. Like, that's why I got so excited. You think a $10 crystal ring from a random crystal shop? Like, I'm so sorry.
Really? What did I do?
He got mad at me. He didn't want to talk to me on the phone anymore. And yeah, typical cycle. I can't make this up, y'all. Typical abusive cycle. You say something that's very normal, you're very honest, your abuser gets mad and upset and cold shoulders you and silent treatment. And yeah, that was a cycle I was really stuck in. Guys, that was a story time. A man, a Delulu in the clouds, Delulu. Man thought I bought him a promise ring. A man at 19, am I right? Can't make this up, y'all. I don't know what is insane in Virgo men's brains. I don't know. It was a combination of a bunch of stuff. I don't know how I forgot about that. Honestly, like something I saw kind of just about relationships and being with a man who tries to control you and tries to dim your shine is like what type of relationship that turned out to be. And that literally just popped in my head. I know you guys are just I know you guys are just as speechless as me. Yeah, guys, that was a story time of a man who thought I bought him a promise ring. I know nobody in these comments can relate. I know I got it with this one. Or if you can, or if you have something similar, you have any thoughts, literally comment down below. But I love that I can tell a story and I can laugh and I can spit jokes and be myself because I'm in a great place mentally and emotionally right now. But I do just want to end off this video saying, because like I said, seeing a certain like video, consuming certain content kind of reminded me of this story. I just wanted to share it because I think it's funny that a man could ever be that delusional, and it's content. We're gonna profit off my trauma. Okay? But seriously, just a reminder, you guys, although it wasn't too bad, it was kind of getting there at the time I told the story. Like I said, this was my abusive relationship. I was essayed. I was heavily emotionally abused. I thought I was a terrible person. Um, a lot of reflections of my podcast are from me even trying to feel good about myself and feel worthy. I was with someone who, yeah, made me feel like a terrible person, made me feel like doing anything I wanted to do was bad and just like dimmed my light and made me feel unlovable. Like, you do all this, but like no one else would love you. And it really kept me in that cycle for so long. I was also going through a lot with my family. Abusers prey on people in my positions too, that to where I thought like I'm going through a lot in my family, but at least I'm in this relationship and at least he's crazy and he does these things, but at least he does love me and he's loyal. And that was like a really, really dark place that I was in for a year. So I just want to end this off, even though this was a funny story and I know it's leaving you guys speechless. Any person, man, woman, non-binary person, but especially women, because unfortunately we get stuck in these cycles a lot in the name of love. um I just want to reiterate again, please don't be like me. I know everyone has to have their own experiences and stuff, but please learn from me. Like, I have a couple story times on this guy. My psycho ex-boyfriend is probably the one that speaks the most volumes. But yeah, I was single for almost 2 years trying to recover from sexual trauma and recover my self-worth and crazy anxiety and stuff. So just remember, if you've been through something similar or if you're going through it, if you think something is going the right way, it is not worth it to be with someone who wants to control you. That whole, oh my god, like that whole metaphor of like men see a beautiful bird and they want to like keep it in a cage for only them to look at is exactly how I felt. What's it say? Fucking with you feel like jail, nigga. But yeah, do not settle for someone like that. And I know it's easier said than done, obviously, because I was in it and it took me almost 2 years to recover. A lot of it still lives within me, but I'm just at a much better place. Um, yeah, that's just my reminder. Do not settle, because although I haven't found it yet, but I will. There is someone where it won't have to come with that. It won't have to come with, oh, he loves me and he's loyal and he prioritizes me, even though he abuses me and he does those things. No, there is a man who will be loyal and prioritize you and ignite your fire and encourage you and show up for you without all the ugly, going through all the ugly dark things. It's very possible. I believe it. And I want to end on that note. Um, because yeah, like I said again, it's such a blessing for me that I'm able to make a story time about this and joke and be bubbly, because a year ago I could not do that. A year ago I was still heavily affected with the anxiety. My heart would probably be racing this whole story time. Scared. So yeah, shout out to any of my survivors. I love y'all. This is always a safe space. But I hope it made you laugh and I hope you feel encouraged after the ending. Anyways, thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you guys once again for all the love you show me on this channel, on my new Instagram. All socials will be linked down below. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.